Shalom. This week's Sedra is Sedra Vayakehl. Public work projects can transform communities, cities, and entire nations. The infrastructure developments allow traffic to be eased, more services to be provided, and added quality of life. If carried out properly, they bring an economic boom, attracting businesses and commerce. At their inception, public works projects provide jobs to hundreds and sometimes even thousands of unemployed workers. They galvanize the spirit of a community, giving hope in future building and societal advancement. This week's Torah Parsha reviews the first public works project of the fledgling Jewish nation, the Tabernacle, the Mishkan. Consisting of 13 basic materials, a large design and engineering staff, the Tabernacle construction was funded by the Jewish people's donations. The outpouring of donations was so great that Moshe had to tell the people to stop bringing donations. The only project greater than the building of the Tabernacle was King Solomon's building of the first temple in Yerushalayim. It is curious that to start the review of the Tabernacle building, God wrote about Shabbat. He wrote as follows, and pardon me while I read here. On 6 days work may be done, but on the seventh day you shall have a sanctified day, a Shabbat of complete rest, Shabbat Shabbaton. Whoever does any work on it shall be put to death. Our rabbis explained that the work that God was talking about referred to the building of the Tabernacle. Rashi, the great Torah scholar, explained, God intentionally mentioned the prohibition of working on Shabbat before the command to build the tabernacle to teach that the building of the tabernacle does not take precedence over Shabbat. You cannot build the Mishkan on Shabbat. There's something even more curious about the introduction to the review of the tabernacle building. Our pasuk used three phrases to explain Shabbat. It calls Shabbat a sanctified day, calls it a Shabbat of complete rest, a Shabbat Shabbaton, and then says whoever does any work on it shall be put to death. These three phrases don't seem to teach anything new. One of them would have sufficed on their own. Why was it necessary to use all three phrases to explain Shabbat? Each phrase actually teaches something different about Shabbat. Calling Shabbat a sanctified day means that it's set aside from the other days of the week. It's unique, it's sanctified. It is set aside to praise and to connect to God. This day that is set aside is called a Shabbat Shabbaton, a Shabbat of complete rest. This adds to our meaning of Shabbat. It means that the day must be completely dedicated to praising and connecting to God. And how does one do that? How does one completely dedicate their day to praising and to connecting to God? The third phrase explained, it's by not doing any work, any malacha. This explains, as the Sforno wrote, that work done for a mitzvah, it doesn't make a difference. Even if it's for a mitzvah, the work is still prohibited. Shabbat is a unique day. Only the gravest of situations allows it to be violated. So sacred is the Shabbat day that its laws must be observed no matter how necessary its violation might seem. As the greatest project the Jews had been aside, the thought might have been to violate the Shabbat in order to see the Mishkan's completion. God introduces the building with the command to keep Shabbat in order to show that nothing is as important as taking a day to praise and to connect to God. Shabbat Shalom.